I feel like there's like a little bit of a rivalry between each team in the MAAC. Is there any teams thus far that you've been like, oh, it's smoke when we play them?
Yeah, I feel like St. Peter's definitely that was one where it got a little chippy. If I'm being completely honest, I shot it. Most people say like, "Oh, I knew it was good and went off my hands." I thought I missed. I thought for sure I missed.
When I'm watching Iona, you be talking crazy. I'm not gonna lie. So what was the celebration? Cause you was just on some like I just hit it, but I was expecting you to be like on some.
All the mid-major blogs want to talk about it, but I think one thing that's really helped us is kind of just focusing on ourselves and realizing that we got to do something good because Iona cares about basketball.
Just, your process and how you got to Iona, because obviously you had 40% from three for last year and this year. So just talk about that transfer portal, bro. What was that like?
I don't even remember the name. Could seem like I'm gatekeeping. Who knows? Up for interpretation. I don't remember what street is on at all, actually. They might have just closed, actually. Damn, that's crazy.
We are here, another episode of Not Even D2. I'm your host, KJ Allison, here with my boy and co-host, Naruto Perdomo. Got a fire episode today, of course. But before we get into that, bro, how you doing?
Good, man. Good. Had a good last couple of days. I think it's like third or fourth week into the semester, so really just building a routine. And yeah, a lot of good stuff been happening, so been good. What about you?
Life is good. Grad student, just putting in that work. Is a lot of time consuming, I'll say, but none I can't handle. Doing pod work, school, all that. I'm locked in. But this is a basketball pod, obviously, but it's also Super Bowl week. We got to touch on that. I got a few things, but before, I'm going to ask you some FanDuel questions. I want your Super Bowl pick before I get into that.
I got Seahawks, man. I got Seahawks.
Like dominating, or it's a good one?
Seahawks by one touchdown.
Okay. I'm going to go Seahawks as well. I think a lot of people think the Patriots are weak just because they obviously had an easy schedule. They played like two winning teams throughout the whole year. But I do think this team is legit, but the Seahawks is really good. I don't know if I could put my money on Sam Darnold in a big game again, but I think the Seahawks got enough talent on both sides of the ball to get it done. But, all right, so my betting odds, I didn't prep you for this, so you're going to be going in blind. I think they're called Novelty bets, so basically outside of the Super Bowl. So it's like Gatorade color. Will it be the Gatorade color? Halftime, how long will it be? Stuff like that. So we'll go through it, and then you tell me what you got. So Super Bowl Gatorade betting odds, color of first Gatorade poured on winning head coach. You could go orange plus 240, yellow lime or green plus 260, blue 260, purple plus 750, and then red pink plus 1,000, water clear plus 1,100. Wow.
They don't have purple?
Purple plus 750.
I would say purple plus 750, and I'm gonna go blue. Those I would put my money on those two.
Okay, I don't know why I guess orange is probably most common, but I feel like both teams are gonna go off of what maybe matches their identity a little bit more. So Patriots, I'll say I'll just say blue. So that's my bet, blue. All right, so national anthem is by Charlie Puth. Wow. And we're gonna do the last note that he gets. So Home of the Brave, how long that would be. The over-under is 3.5 seconds. What did you got?
I got over 3.5.
All right, I'm gonna go opposite of this one. I'm gonna go. It's a big moment. The person singing. If you want some attention on you definitely drag it out a little bit. I don't know if Charlie Puth is that guy. He's gonna hold the note that long. Let's do a few more. So Cardi B Super Bowl bet odds. How many times will she be shown? And the over/under is 1.5.
I hope over under whatever it is, under 1.5. I'm not a fan of her, honestly, but
really, she might be a guest appearance for your boy Bad Bunny.
I would hate that.
Damn.
I would hate that.
So I was thinking they're obviously gonna show her at least once. I think also if Diggs has a big play and she's sitting somewhere with maybe a few other famous people, it'll be an easy cut to her. So I'm going to go over 1.5 for Cardi B. And then also, will she be wearing Stephon Diggs' jersey? Yes or no? Yes? Easy? You would be tight if your girl is like, I'm going to just put on some jersey for your Super Bowl game?
Nah, I mean she would have to be wear something, associated with my team, but nah, she gotta have my jersey on, or something with the team. Either one of those two things.
All right, I'm gonna say yeah as well. And then last but not least, obviously, I got to talk about your boy Bad Bunny. There's a lot of songs for first song betting odds or last song betting odds, but there's too many to list, so I'll skip to total number of songs betting odds. So over under is set at 11 and a half songs.
He goes over that.
Yeah, I think he goes.
He goes over that for sure.
And I loved his speech and his little conversation with Trevor Noah at the Grammy. So shout out to Bad Bunny. He's getting a lot of. He's obviously always been in the news for positive things, but right now too, like the American public, I'm interested to see how the people react to, because obviously most people aren't gonna know. Well, at least in the States, most people aren't gonna know his songs. So I'm curious to see how the backlash or the positive reflection will be on that. But that's 5 minutes. We'll have to keep track of those betting odds. I might have to place a few on some of those. But let's talk about this episode. We did this last week with Toby Harris. Toby Harris is currently playing for Iona Gaels. He's their second leading scorer, but he played his first 4 years at Brandeis, and that's a Division III school, so that's right up our alley, D3 to D1 transfer. And like I said, bro, he's killing right now. Second leading scorer, I think, averaging double digits, shooting the piss out of the ball. He's got a bright future, and there might be some talks about him getting another year, but we'll skip that convo. What you think about this episode?
Nah, man, it was definitely a great episode. Shout out Toby for getting on. Obviously, we had communicated with him about getting on for a little bit, but in many ways, I'm glad we kind of waited this long to get him on the pod, because it's been dope to see his journey from before the year started to now he's a starter on a Division I team, Iona Gaels, that has a great history within basketball. And his career is dope. He joked how he wasn't highly recruited coming out of high school, and how, freshman year he had to figure it out and just keep working. And he eventually did figure it out, bro, because that next sophomore year he averaged 19. And then he talked about some of the trials and tribulations he went through with getting injured, but then returning back from that and having a great senior season. It was such a great episode, and I think, not only Division III hoopers, not only, D1 hoopers, whoever it is, I think they should listen to his story, bro, because it truly is inspiring, and it shows what hard work, commitment to the craft can do for you, honestly.
Yeah, that's special words by you, and it just reinforces the idea that everybody runs their own race, bro. Like, you can get caught up in looking at everybody else's story, but Toby just kept his head down. He never envisioned being a Division I kid. Like, he was coming out of high school, and then he played his 4 years. He could have just been like, that was my career. I'm grateful for how it went, but he kept his head down, kept working, and it paid off, because now he's playing in MAAC basketball for Iona. They care about basketball a lot, great basketball tradition in the MAAC, but specifically at Iona. We talked about a lot in this episode. The Tobin situation with Iona. Shout out to my guy Tobin. How that kind of affected his recruiting. We talked about his Brandeis memories, UAA, everything. D3, D1 fans, everybody's going to get a good taste in this episode. We're going to stay with us throughout the whole episode. We're going to talk some NBA at the end of this episode. Stay with us and subscribe. We appreciate all the support. Go follow us at Not Even D2. And let's get into the conversation with Toby Harris.
All right, we are here, man, back again for another episode of Not Even D2 on this fine Thursday. And today we have Iona Gaels forward Toby Harris. How you feeling today, bro?
I'm feeling good, man. I appreciate y'all for having me.
Yeah, for sure. We've been talking about getting you on the pod for a little minute, so it's definitely good to finally get you on. Big game tomorrow. We don't got to bring up what the score was against Marist, but y'all definitely got to get back. So what's the mindset? This gonna release after the game. So what's your predictions for the game tomorrow?
Game tomorrow, man. We got a lot of momentum, so we're looking to build off that. We always say we pride ourselves on our preparation, so we just gonna prepare like it's any other game and go out there and try and get it done.
Is that I feel like there's like a little bit of a rivalry between each team in the MAAC, because the MAAC has been around for so long. Is there any teams thus far that you've been like, oh, it's smoke when we play them?
For sure. I mean, when I got to Iona, it was all like Manhattan. I think that was like portrayed as a big one. Honestly, yeah, I feel like every game is kind of there's someone you're butting heads with, just as a competitor. But yeah, I feel like St. Peter's definitely that was one where it got a little chippy. But yeah, every game's a big game in the MAAC, I would say.
Nah, the MAC definitely a good bump sometimes, bro. It's like some of the, I don't want to say it's a great conference because some of the teams at the bottom, I'm not going to give them more credit than they deserve, but definitely like from the middle pack up is definitely good teams. We had Amari on the pod, he's a basket, Quinnipiac doing good, so I'm excited to see. We was talking a little bit off air about how the Iona versus Siena game got flexed to ESPNU, so y'all getting some national recognition. You about to be hyper for that?
Of course, man. It's nice to even be on the ESPN Plus. It's cool to see coming from where I come from. But yeah, that'll definitely be a big one. I did all right on my birthday last time against them. We'll see if I can keep it going. So,
what you had 25 last time against them?
Something like that.
Yeah, you about to be high in the scouting report, but obviously. Obviously, you coming off a crazy game. You had a game winner the other night. I want you to walk us through the play a little bit. I'm gonna put it on the screen, but it was definitely a tough play, bro. So I want you to walk it through. If I can find it.
Man. I mean, to be honest, I was dirt the whole first half. I think I shot 0 for 7. They blessed me. They took away like a half court heave at the end of the shot clock, but yeah, I was bad. I was real bad. Shout out to Denver England for kind of keeping us in the game. But yeah, I mean, I hit 2 in the second, and then, he missed a free throw, and it was kind of like, you're like, oh snap, this could happen. And in the huddle, we had talked about, if he misses it, get Lamine the ball in the middle, and he was just gonna look eyes out. And he happened to find me, and I guess the reputation that I have, people are flying out, and if I don't shot fake this, I'm gonna get. I got a shot in the corner blocked into the stands in the first half, so I gotta do something here. And then, if I'm being completely honest, I shot it. Most people say like, "Oh, I knew it was good and went off my hands." I thought I missed. I thought for sure I missed, and you can kind of see in the video if it pulls up, but like I just kind of freeze for a second after it goes in, and then I was like, "Oh snap!" And then I don't even know what happened with the clock, but someone threw a heave, and then people started rushing the floor, and I was like, "Oh snap!" We won.
Yo, sometimes I be seeing when I'm watching Iona that you be talking crazy. I'm not gonna lie. So, what was the celebration? Cause you was just on some like I just hit it, but I was expecting you to be like on some get the fuck out of here, whatever.
Nah, man. Yeah, I have a little competition problem, but yeah, honestly, I think it all stems from the fact that I was just so bad, and I was just grateful I got one, and it happened to be a big one. But yeah, genuinely, I didn't think it was gonna go in. I thought I missed it right off the front of the rim, so it was kind of just a sigh of relief and a little bit of shock, I would say. And then there's people all around me. I was just trying not to smile too hard, act like I've been there before a little bit.
Nah, for sure. That's that shooter's mentality, though. Like, you talked about not really playing too well in the first half, but look how you responded, bro. Made 2 and then gamed them. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Always keep shooting.
Nah, and that's a big game too, because you guys are in the middle of the standings right now. Merrimack at the top, so that's big. Not only just like obviously record wise, but confidence wise. We just beat the 1 seed, and you probably feeling good too. I just gamed them, so that shout out to you. But
for sure.
Like I said, you guys, big game tomorrow. Siena game on ESPNU. I'm curious what the vibe is in the locker room right now. How y'all feeling heading into the final stretch of MAAC play and furthermore the playoffs?
Yeah, man, we're feeling good. I think, the way Iona did it this year, I mean, everyone's new, basically. Everyone's coming from a different spot. We really only had 2 guys return. So, like, it definitely took a while to get the chemistry on the court, I would say. But off the court, we clicked immediately. So we're all super close in the locker room. And then, we've kind of hit our stride here a little bit with back-to-back wins. And, we're looking to make it 3 and continue to move from there. So we're definitely feeling good headed into the final stretch of the season and going into March to Atlantic City for that tournament.
I mean, I feel like it was kind of an adjustment for everybody, right? Because not only, is everyone coming from different schools, but, I think it was, how do you say his last name? Coach
Geroit.
Geroit.
Yeah.
Coach Geroit. Was this his first head coaching opportunity at the college level?
At the college level, yeah. So it's basically everyone's new. I think,
Yeah.
I mean, not counting, GAs and assistant coaches only. I think only one of them came back too. So, yeah, it was basically a whole rebuild throughout the whole organization. So I would say to kind of be in the position we're at, we're happy and, we're looking to build forward off of that, just with everyone being new.
With that being said, that transition process, I'm kind of interested in your process, bro, because, you're coming from Division III and, we kind of talked about it. Division III is a whole different lifestyle than Division I, from being on the court to even off the court, bro, nowadays. So talk about what has stood out to you about the Division I level from basketball to school in your lone season at Division I.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, basketball wise, it's definitely just like it's a priority on campus for sure. And I think that's part of the reasons why I chose Iona. There's just such a strong basketball community. But I mean, obviously the coaching staff is way bigger. There's resources just available at every turn basically. So that's been huge. And being someone who obviously loves basketball a lot, it's always great to be around like-minded individuals and just a place that has so many resources for me. Obviously D3, there's obviously great players at any level, especially D3. But the resources side of things, you really just can't compete just based on money and scholarships and all that stuff. So, I mean, that's been huge. Like, there's always someone willing to rebound. The trainers are great. People around campus know you. The professors follow the basketball games. So, like, sometimes the president will be in on our practices. So it's really a whole basketball community, which has been great to see. And then school-wise, yeah, it definitely feels like, it feels like a bigger school than it is. I think Iona is only like 4,000, but just the way the community is and how close everyone is to the basketball team, like it feels like a much bigger school. So I have no complaints with where I ended up, and it's been a good experience for me.
That's fire, bro. Iona definitely seems like a good spot. I know that I'm
Yes,
looking
sir.
at Iona for sure in the fall, but. One thing I'm just wondering about, bro, is that first practice. Like, how was the first Division I summer practice? Did that kill you? Like, I'm interested in that.
Yeah, to be honest, my dad's a big basketball guy. He's a high school coach. He's been working me out my whole life, and he was the whole summer like, "You're not in good enough shape," like just on me to run, get in shape. So that was a big part of it. I think I really went in like expecting just a monster to just like put me out of commission for like weeks. But honestly, the way we run our practices is so player development and like focused on that and our recovery. It didn't kill me too bad. It was definitely like, okay, these guys are a little bit bigger, probably move a little bit faster than some of the guys I was playing last year. But I think for me, it really wasn't a super big step up. I'm lucky enough to be from North Carolina and a place where there's a bunch of good basketball players. So throughout the whole summer, I was working out with or playing guys, and really through my whole life who have been at this level or at higher levels as well. So I would say it was definitely a little bit of a change, but for the most part, I was kind of expecting it or used to it for the most part.
I feel like this transitioning, but last summer when the news that Toby Anderson was getting released from Iona, at least in Ruda and I's radar, it was a big deal. I'm curious if that it was talked about at all during like your recruitment or like when you're first getting to Iona. Was that a deal around campus?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely been brought up to me before, and in all honesty, like I think I was recruited like right in that transition period. So when the staff got let go, I was honestly shocked as well, and I think it was like, oh, well, I don't know about Iona now. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. And then I got to meet with Coach Geroit, and I was talking to Coach Patrick Wallace, one of the assistants, and I just really liked what they were putting forward. And then obviously when you get to campus, people talk about it, and the social media and all the mid-major blogs want to talk about it. But I think one thing that's really helped us is kind of just focusing on ourselves and realizing that kind of we got to do something good because Iona cares about basketball, obviously. So it's honestly been a little bit of a motivator for us, but I would say for the most part, we've all being from different places, it doesn't really cross our mind that much. But yeah, that was definitely something that played a little bit of role, I would say, in the summer.
You could tell you're a fifth year guy. You sound really mature in your answers, so I respect it.
Media trained.
That's funny. But we mentioned Coach Geroit already, but just to give a little bit more context into him, he was in the NBA the past 10 years, different stints with different coaches, like coached with JB Bickerstaff. He was with the Pelicans last year. You mentioned he was coach for the G League. So just talk about what you're seeing from him and how he's building a culture at Iona, some of his philosophies that maybe stood out to you, all that.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, he's a great guy, and that was apparent from the first time I met him. You know, he's always smiling, always laughing. And I think he's done a really good job of building culture here. I think it was harped on from the beginning of the summer from our first team meeting that, like, we brought everyone here for a reason. I think we kind of took a little bit of a underdog mentality because I think a lot of the guys coming in feel as they have been, like, you know, overlooked or not really used the right way throughout their whole career. So I think that really helped us kind of bond together quickly. And then our practices are all about, like, just getting better individually and as a team. And I think that's helped us really stay connected. So, I mean, in all our team meetings, we have a picture of the MAAC logo and the NCAA logo. You know, we have goals here, and we've been talking about them since day one, which I think has really helped, you know, motivate and bring us together. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's always tough being in your first year, and I think he's done more than surpassed expectations for, you know, the people around him and the team itself. So, yeah, I have nothing bad to say at all.
Nah, I mean, he's definitely putting out a good product, bro. Honestly, like, you know, watching the games, like, y'all are playing hard. I feel like he got a couple players that were, like, underrated almost, like CJ Anthony, for
sure.
example. I think he was at Cincinnati, but didn't really get much playing time. But now he's kind of a star on your team. So it's no surprise why y'all are doing well this year, honestly.
For sure.
And also, too, I wanted to say, like, Coach Geroit, am I saying it right? Geroit. See, I'm the one messing up names now. Usually it's KJ. So Coach Geroit, I see when he got hired, he had, like, the back end of, you know, LeBron, but K Love, like a bunch of NBA vets that were, like, so happy for him. So, you know, when you have backing of players like that and stars like that, you know, it only means good things. I want to talk about another coach that you had, Coach Bain. You know, I want to talk about just the impact that he had on you, you know, while at Brandeis. I only hear, you know, great stuff about him. So, you know, let's just start with that before we talk more about your D3 journey.
Bro, been geeked ever since you mentioned Coach Bain.
That's my guy, man. Yeah, if I'm being honest, my freshman year, I swore he hated me and I hated him. Like, he was on me like crazy, just constantly yelling. I think there was one practice I was in a defensive stance for 5 minutes just by myself on the sidelines. And I remember I called my dad one time and I was like, Dad, like, what am I doing wrong? Like, he's not playing me anymore. And I just remember my dad just being like, you suck. You suck right now. And I was like, all right, well, that's fair. I just remember it was like, okay, like, I'm coming back for my sophomore year. Like, I can't let this happen again. And I showed up my sophomore year. And after my freshman year in the spring, I just remember always going into his office and just talking about anything. And, you know, I got in the gym and I put myself in a position to kind of be a lot better than I was my freshman year as a sophomore. And, you know, I just continued going into his office, and me and him formed, like, an incredibly close bond. I think he was kind of like a father figure on campus for me. I was always in his office talking to him. And when I got hurt and then came back my senior year, I remember at the beginning of my senior year, I was like, I got another year. I'm probably not going to come back. And I remember he looked at me. He was like, I already know, like, I'm going to do everything I can to help you. And my senior year, he coached me a lot harder because I think he was trying to prepare me. He told me he was trying to prepare me for the next level because it's definitely different. And, you know, yeah, I'm forever grateful for him. He took a chance on me in high school, and, you know, I think without him, I wouldn't be here today. So I got nothing but love for him. We text and call. You know, I probably should call him more often. I remember I called him when they beat NYU in the first game. But, yeah, I got nothing for love for him. He actually just had a kid, too. So he's a dad now. Shout out to him. So, yeah, I got nothing but love for him.
Nah, congrats to Coach. You talked about how, like, this past summer your dad was on you, and you're from North Carolina, so I'm kind of curious what your summers were looking like. Because I feel like looking at your stats, you always get better. Even this year, like this year's second year in a row shooting 40% from three. So the work is showing that you're getting better, but you have a good framework, whether it's your dad or whoever else you're training with. So just talk about, like, what your preparation looks like throughout the summers.
Yeah, I mean, so my whole life, my dad is not the dad that's going to call a coach for more playing time. He's going to call the coach and tell him to stop playing me. It's super tough love, and I mean, without him, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have even probably been a college basketball player. But so he's always on me, and then, you know, as I got older, you kind of stop working out with your dad a little bit because you start butting heads. So, I had my guys back home, a guy named Mike Jones. Everyone calls him the guru. I would work out with him. We would be outside in the sweat, just sweating. And then, my guy Sean Billerman, just working out with him in the gyms with a bunch of college players. So it's definitely a lot of preparation, I would say, especially the summer leading up to my first year here. It was, I don't think I really missed a day, even when traveling. I would always try and find a way to be in the gym. And, being shooting is something that I do. It was really about repetition a lot. And then, trying to work on the things I wasn't as good at. And like I said before, being from North Carolina, there's always good players around. So if you really want to go play, you can walk into the Y, or there's so many people where if you text them, you can get good bump anywhere. So I think that was big for me, and my environment really helped shape me a little bit in that sense as well.
I'm a little curious because I know we have a couple mutual friends, like Amani from Boston, and he was like, did you stay in Boston over the summers? Because Boston has some good bump too, especially in the summer.
I stayed 1 year, but it was just after my hip surgery, my junior year. I stayed leading into my senior year. That was the only year I stayed, really just to continue rehabbing and get back into shape. So I never really got to play in any runs in Boston. I remember there was a couple times some dudes came to Brandeis, a couple from like UMass, Maine, schools like that. But it was really, I really only stayed one summer, and I never got to experience the good Boston runs. A couple of my guys ended up playing in the Harvard runs or something like that, and said it was good bump. But I never truly got to experience it. I guess I have to go back one summer when I get a chance.
I was gonna say, because the Brandeis Summer League was always great bump, bro, and you had players from, it was mostly Division III, but it was like, WPI had a team in there. Some NESCAC guys were in there, and I'm wondering, what do you remember about like battling in the UAA, battling against other NESCAC schools, and do you believe that the UAA is truly the best D3 conference?
Yeah, I mean, I remember it all as things get bloody. I mean, the outer conference, obviously D3 sometimes is hit or miss in terms of like super good talent, but when we would get into conference play, especially with no conference tournament in the UAA, it was, I mean, man, it got brutal. I don't think there was a game the whole conference, all my 4 years, where a team was fully healthy. But yeah, those games were real battles, and I didn't really play a bunch of NESCAC teams. We did the NESCAC challenge every time, and I think I lost one game against them. So we're gonna say that the UAA is definitely the better conference. I know Trinity got the national championship and stuff, but that was a close one in itself. And yeah, I would definitely give the edge to the UAA, just being a UAA guy myself, and looking at the top 25 right now. You feel me? I still follow it a little bit. UAA holding strong.
I'm curious. So UAA, obviously, I feel like it's still getting better too, especially with the portal. A lot of Division I kids are coming down to D3. But I'm curious, for you, who are some of the guys that you were like, when I see him, it maybe not like beef, but like Ruta said, like you said, it got bloody. So who are some of those guys you couldn't wait to match up against and try to put on your best performance for?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it was really everybody. I mean, Emory always had great teams. It was always down to the wire with them, with Ben Pierce and Jair Knight and all those guys. Logan Shanahan, he's graduated now. And then Case Western had some great teams, great players. Sam Trunley, I think, averaged about 24. Justin Allen at Carnegie, we always got into it a little bit. We played him, and he did what he did at D3 against us. So,
Facts.
That guy can go. He's a real hooper. But my freshman year, WashU had a kid, Jack Nolan. I think he ended up getting drafted to the G League or something like that, but he played on no ankles our second game and was hitting some shots where it was like, whoa, this shouldn't be happening. But yeah, I mean, there's so many guys I could think of. Like, all the teams had someone where it's like, we got to guard them. Rochester had a dude named Ross Gang. It's like a 6'8" point forward, played like Jokic a little bit. It was like, there's always someone from one team where you run into them and it's like at top of the scout, they do everything. So it was definitely a league where, anyone could beat anyone, I would say.
Nah, definitely a lot of talented hoopers, bro. I'm wondering this, like, so you're a D3 to D1 transfer. We mentioned Justin. Is like any part of you like I'm assuming so. But is any part of you like rooting for these guys that are going D3 to D1 and really like putting on for the level?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know Hampton Sanders as well at Columbia. We was talking about the process a little when he was going into the portal. So yeah, I'm absolutely rooting for those guys. Maybe not Justin when he played us. That was a little rough. But yeah, it's always great to have guys from D3 show out at this level, because obviously D3 gets a horrible rep in the basketball world. I think it's going up now. You had the D3 TBT team or whatever go pretty far in that tournament. But yeah, I think when people think of D3, they think of Duncan Robinson, and obviously he's done incredible things and all that. But there's so many guys coming after him that I think will I mean, even the guy from Washington State who was D3 previous, who's now on the Grizzlies. So there's definitely guys that can hoop, and I think there's a lot of us trying to show that at this level. So I'm absolutely rooting for those guys, just not when they play us.
Real quick, I got a story for you, Toby. So I was big on Colin Coward like before the season, and we did an episode with Duncan Robinson, and I was like, yo, you know who Coward is? Just because obviously y'all both D3, went D1, now he's about to be in the league. And Duncan was like, nah, I have no idea. But it's just crazy now that he's actually having a good year. People are talking about him now, so that's just showing like Ruda had this theory too about any D3 player could really, not any, but any all-conference D3 player could go to D1 and have good seasons, but you, Duncan, Coward, Hampton, like, it's just so many examples showing that D3 is top of the top, just like D1, to be honest.
Sure.
What do you think about that take, bro? Because so the original take originally was, I said this a couple years ago, but I believe that most all-American or the top conferences in D3, those first team all conference guys could go play lower mid-major Division I basketball and like have a high level role in the team. What's your opinion on that, bro?
Yeah, honestly, I would agree. Obviously, I think you got to take from the top conferences for sure, and then those All-American lists. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of guys that I remember playing where it was like, and then I go home or I'm watching something on TV, or even teams I played this year where it's like, man, that guy could play at this level easily. So I honestly, I would have to agree. I think there's a lot of good hoopers at the D3 level that, one, just get overlooked, or two, just choose the D3 level for, a good academic school because, they value both. So honestly, I would agree. I think the top conferences and that All-American list, I think you put a team of those guys together, I think they could compete in a lot of mid-major conferences. I would say that for sure.
100%, bro. I mean, I definitely don't see why not. And I'm interested to hear this. You might have talked about it with KJ before I got on air. Just, your process and how you got to Iona, because obviously you had, you averaged 13 your junior year. That's when you got hurt, right? Yeah. But outside of that, 19 and 18 both years, 40% from three for last year and this year. So just talk about that transfer portal, bro. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, it was honestly kind of a whirlwind because out of high school I wasn't a recruit basically. I like to call myself like a -1 star. Like no one really knew about me. It was basically all D3 schools, and so when I entered the portal, I was able to enter before like any of the D1 kids just because there's no regulations at the D3 level for the portal. So those first couple weeks, it was like I felt like McDonald's All-American. It was my phone was blowing up. It was wild. I was like, wow, this is nice. This is what these guys feel like. But yeah, I think a big thing for me in Iona was, there was a couple schools that were like consistently, reaching out, like we want you, all this. But then when all the Division I guys were able to enter the portal, it was kind of like, he's D3. Is he really proven? Like maybe he's not ready for this level. So a lot of schools that, were saying stuff kind of like backed off a little bit. And Iona was just still like every week, almost daily, like we want you. And I remember I'd never been on a visit before, like an actual visit. So we were on a Zoom call with Geroit and Patrick Wallace and a couple other guys, and it was me and my dad. And my dad was like, what about a visit? And they were like, we'll get you out here in 2 days. So I remember I was like, oh snap! And I came to New York, took my visit. It was all like, I felt like Hollywood to me. Everyone's catering to you. I wasn't really used to that. And like the photographers and the pictures, it was all kind of surreal. And I remember asking myself the day after when I was going home, like, can you really ask for more? And it was getting kind of late into the process. It was the spring. Um, and like a lot of schools kind of just put me on the back burner just because, D3, all that rep and stuff like that. And Iona kind of really stuck it out and showed me they believed in me. So I think it was the day after I got back from my visit, I called my dad and I was like, you can't really ask for more. And like, they believe in me and that's all you really want from the school and from a coaching staff. And I committed the next day and it felt kind of like a weight off your shoulders to kind of get that done. But yeah, really, really props to Iona. Just they stuck it out. They believed in me when, not to sound corny, but nobody else did to that extent. So, I think that's a real part of the reason why I chose to come here, along with the philosophy and basketball stuff.
Nah, I definitely appreciate you telling that story. And I think, what stands out to me when I hear that story is how, like, you're almost appreciating the little things, bro, like a visit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like maybe other Division I players are like, oh, it's another visit. But, we're coming from this level where it's like, you don't get the jerseys sometimes on the visit. You don't get the photos, exactly. But you're getting all that at Iona, bro. And it's funny because when we first, like, I think when I first texted you about getting on the pod, it was before the season started. And, I've been following you on the gram ever since. So watching your journey, like, I think the first game, you didn't really have your, a good first game. But then after that, you kind of took off, and then now you're starting. And I was telling KJ, like, deep from Division III to Division I starter, like, that's not a small thing, bro. It's not a little bag, as some I say.
Appreciate that.
So, what's something that young hoopers and even current college hoopers should take away from your journey?
Yeah, man. I think the biggest thing I tell people, especially when getting recruited, when people ask, is just always go where you're wanted, because that if you go somewhere where you're not wanted, you're probably gonna have a miserable experience. And in terms of basketball and getting better and all that stuff, I would say just you gotta always have a constant belief. You gotta be a little crazy to an extent. My dad probably thinks I am crazy, but like you gotta have a little bit of a crazy belief, almost like not a fake confidence, because you don't want to be cocky. No one likes a cocky guy, but just the confidence in yourself and your abilities that you're gonna be able to get it done. And I think for me, one big thing that helped me is like everyone has goals and aspirations and that they want to reach, but when it comes down to it, like what systems do you have in place to really reach those goals? Or once you reach that goal, like what's next? I like to call it like building systems, because if you have a system in place, you're just going to continue to do the work, and even once you reach that goal, the system is going to stay in place. So I would say, yeah, you gotta have a little bit of a crazy belief in yourself, and the right people in your corner, and build those systems, and always go where you're wanted. Because if you go where you're wanted, I think you have the opportunity to thrive, and who knows where that will lead. So I could have never guessed I would be sitting at a Division I university after my freshman year at Brandeis. So just a little bit of craziness is always good.
Nah, that's what's up, bro. That's what's up. Definitely appreciate those words, bro. Young hoopers definitely got to listen up. But, we have rapid fire now, bro. KJ got top 5 after rapid fire, but I'm going to start it off. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, bet. So first question would be, so you're in New York City now. Your go-to restaurant spots, that you be visiting now that you're in New Rochelle.
New Rochelle, definitely the Avenue Deli. I got it right here next to me, actually.
Tell us what kind of like food it is too.
It's basically everything. They got sandwiches, breakfast sandwiches, French toast is the one, bunch of drinks, all that stuff. So it's basically got everything you need in a little deli. And then there's another deli as well. We call it Moe's because the guy that owns it is Moe's. Kind of same thing. Got a little bit of everything. I'm really, really embracing the New York deli vibe, I would say, in New Rochelle.
Nah, that's what's up. Definitely, there's too many delis out there in New York City, bro. Definitely a lot to pick from. Next rapid fire question I got for you. So, are you into like clothing and stuff like that, or nah?
I would say yes and no. Like I do enjoy dressing sometimes. I wouldn't say I'm more of a name brand guy. I got student loans and stuff, but I definitely am into clothing for sure.
All right, well, I guess I gotta ask this. If you want to gatekeep, you can. But your top thrifting or clothing spots in New York City right now?
Ooh.
Or your top? Actually, not top 3. You're just your favorite one. Because we gotta go quick.
Honestly, I don't even remember the name, could seem like I'm gatekeeping. Who knows? Up for interpretation. But there was one spot we went. A couple of my guys in New York during New York Fashion Week where it was. They've got some stuff. I don't remember what street it's on at all. Actually, they might have just closed. Actually, damn, that's crazy.
Bugging. It was in Manhattan.
Nah.
It was in Manhattan.
Nah. I think it was in Manhattan, something like that. Manhattan or Soho, something like that.
Yo, when you slide for next Fashion Week in a few weeks, you gotta let me know, bro. We link up.
I got you. Let's do it. And yeah, I mean, I'm a big Uniqlo guy as well. Kind of like a more name brand store. Uniqlo, a little bit of Zara here and there. Shout out to my sister. She definitely put me on. I used to just wear sweatpants. That was it.
You not jacking the streetwear like Kith and Supreme or nah?
That's come on. These student loans ain't gonna pay itself.
I feel you. You're not wrong. All right. So last rapid fire question I got for you then. Who's one KJ got to start in 5 of best college players you played against, but who's one player that you played in Division III that you're like, oh, he could definitely go play D1 right now?
I can't say any of my teammates.
Nah.
All right. Honestly, I say Ben Pierce. Shout out to him, man. He was like his first step is lightning quick, honestly, and he's been putting up crazy numbers. That's the first name that comes to mind. I mean, there's so many that I could like name, but he's honestly probably the first one that comes to mind recently.
He's OD, bro. Because now, especially, he developed he could really shoot it now from deep. So he having a crazy year. But we got in this episode with a starting 5 edition. So if you're a coach assembling a lineup, point guard through center, who's your lineup going to be? And this edition is going to be the best hoopers that you played against. And obviously, like D1, you probably played some nice players, but I don't want like a full D1 lineup. I don't think you're the type of guy to give me a full D1 lineup, but
I mean, we could go back to high school even.
Yeah, do it.
Throughout your career. If we were going to do that, I did play Cade and them. I played Montverde. So,
no, I said Cade and
like that would be. Those guys were serious.
How'd that go for you?
Here. We lost by 42.
Okay, just a little 42.
I had 20 though. You know, we were all, I remember we was hyped because I think McEachern with Sharif and them lost by like 44. So we was like, we lost by less than them. we was lit. Let's see, starting 5. I throw Jack Nolan in there. He was cold from WashU. We'll go strictly D3. There was a big from Emerson. Jared Houston. He was 7 foot. Jokic. He had a bag. Let's see. I'll throw Ben Pierce in there. I'm going to show my guy Brandeis, Elias Rodel, some love. I mean, I think he shot like 56% from 3 last year. Let's see. What's the last one?
Like a wing.
And throw myself in there. Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
That team's competing with anybody. Put us in the NEC. We're going to win it all.
No, I respect it, bro. That's definitely GOATs, bro. D3 really got some good product, but that's going to do it.
For sure.
Appreciate you getting on. Like I said, bro, you got a bright future. You're going to keep getting better. You trying to play pro or not?
Of course, always.
Yes, sir.
Highest level possible.
We definitely rooting for you, bro. Like I said, appreciate you getting on.
I appreciate y'all having me.
I'll definitely be seeing you soon, man. Definitely be seeing you soon.
Yes, sir. Go Gaels.
That's going to do it for our conversation with Toby. Shout out to our guy. They got a big game today against Iona. I'm not going to say who I got because I low-key might have the opposite team. Shout out to the Siena guys. I was talking with a few Siena kids a few weeks ago, and they was hype about this game too. So it's gonna be competitive. I'm excited to watch. Hope Toby goes crazy, but I do got the Saints. But it was a good conversation with Toby. He's having a great year, and I'm excited to see where his future goes, bro.
Nah, he definitely has a great future. I mean, he's a shooter that's 6'5" and taller, that shooting 40%. You know, there's a lot of pro teams. I'm not saying NBA, but there's a lot of pro teams that that would need a guy for that, whether it's overseas, G League, whatever it is. Toby definitely got a bright future in this basketball business for sure.
Facts. And this 40% is not on small volume. He's taking over 160 threes, bro. So he's actually a shooter. If you watch his form, it's special. But we're gonna talk about some NBA before we get out of here. So just the two big trades that happened we're recording on a Tuesday. So the two big trades, the Grizzlies traded with the Jazz, and the Pistons, Timberwolves, and Bulls had a three-team trade. So I'll start with breaking down the Grizzlies one. So the Memphis Grizzlies, per Shams, are trading star forward Jaren Jackson Jr., John Conchar, I definitely don't know how to say it, Jock Landale, and Vince Williams Jr. to the Utah Jazz for Walter Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, Georges Niang, and 3 first-round picks. So that's a lot of players moving. But what really sticks out to me, I think the Jazz are trying to make a push low-key now. Maybe not right this season, but I think they believe Keontae George, Lauri Markkanen, and Jaren Jackson are going to be their, in quotes, big three for the next however many years. But I'm not sure 3 first-round picks on top of all those players is kind of a lot to me for Jaren Jackson. Jaren Jackson, not necessarily the most available guy, doesn't rebound, and he needs to play with a true 5. I'm not sure if they're trying to go this season with Nurkic and make a push there, but needs to play with a true 5. I just think it's a lot for Jaren Jackson. But what are your thoughts on the trade?
Yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting trade. It's one that I wouldn't have expected, to see on my phone, honestly. But yeah, I think they're definitely making a push for next year, because if you think about it, they got Keontae George, they got Lauri Markkanen, they got Jaren Jackson now, they got Walker Kessler. Then off the bench, they got Ace Bailey, they got Bryce Sensabaugh, who's tough, and then they have their 2026 first-round pick. So, I'm something on that team. I don't know about contenders next year, but
well, if they are competitive this year, they lose their pick to the Thunder.
Well, I mean, regardless, they're going to have a pretty solid team next year of a lot of young core pieces that moving forward could be good for them. Like I said, I don't know if it's a championship contender next year, but I'm something on the core of George, Kessler, Markkanen, and Jaren Jackson. I also, like I said, I like Bryce Sensabaugh too. I don't know if you watch this game, but he's super tough. But.
Yeah, Bryce he's improving through the year. But yeah, I'm not mad at the trade, because I like teams showing that we're not just tanking, or they could have easily just moved Lauri and been like, we're tanking for the next 5 years again. But they're making a stand, so I like that. Will Hardy's a good coach. I like him. So I think the Jazz will be fun, but I just think Jaren Jackson, 3 first-round picks would have been cool. But then you add in all the 3 other players that you just added. Maybe it was just for salary reasons they did that, but that's my thoughts on that trade. And then we'll move to Bulls, Timberwolves, and Pistons. Agreed a 3-team swap, sending Jaden Ivey, Mike Conley to Chicago, Kevin Huerter and Dario Saric to Detroit, and Timberwolves tax bill reportedly drops from $24 million to $3.8 million. So they're now under the first apron, giving them a lot of leeway next trades or in the summer, whatever they want to do with free agents. I think I like this move for all teams involved, to be honest, bro. You and I have already talked about Jaden Ivey not really fitting with this team, or really holding some of the backup guards or the athletic guards, Sasser, Ron Holland, Dyson Jenkins, holding them back a little bit. So move him, but also the Pistons really needed another shooter. Obviously Duncan can play, but maybe it would be easy to hunt Duncan in some playoff matchups, get Huerter in the building, another forward that can shoot. They didn't trust enough in B-Ball Paul like you was hoping. But what you think about this trade?
B-Ball Paul is center, gang.
Yeah, that's full big man rotation.
Kevin Huerter a big man?
No, Dario Saric.
Man, Dario Saric not playing no center, dog. But anyways, I feel like the Bulls, I don't really understand this trade, because if Jaden Ivey's going to the Bulls, bro, they have, unless they trade Kobe White to Minnesota, I don't know. I don't know what the Bulls are doing. I'm not really a fan of what they're building right now. I think they're just compiling a bunch of pieces together and just throwing it on the court. I like Buzelis, but outside of that, but with the Pistons, bro, I mean, I like the trade. Like, they get Huerter, like you said, Saric, but I don't know how much this really moves the needle for them, because to me it looks like they're probably their mindset is, we don't need another star because we have 2 all-star players in Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren. So we don't need a Michael Porter Jr. type player. We need to have a bunch of really good role players around them. And that's what they kind of have right now with this team. I mean, their starting lineup is Cade, Duncan, Asar, Tobias, Duran. So they have 3 role players with, Duncan, Asar, Tobias, and then off the bench, it's just, Kevin Huerter is now the Tim Hardaway. So Kevin Huerter and Duncan is now Tim Hardaway and Malik Beasley from last year. They got some size with Saric. They got Jenkins with more minutes off the bench now. So I understand it, but I kind of wish they went for like a second star or third tier star almost to help Cade and Duran.
Yeah, I don't think the Pistons necessarily are trying to go for, like, obviously if you if you have a chance to win the championship, you have a chance. But I think right now they're focused on building something long term. I don't think that it was ever what's their owner's name? Forgot, but I don't think it was ever their intentions to swing for the fences this year. So I like the trade, bro. It makes them a little bit deeper. It moves Ivy out of the room, and I didn't even mention they get a 2026 first round protected pick swap from the Timberwolves. So they get a pick, some shooting in the room. Everyone's been saying they need a little bit more shooting, and if Cade's good enough to take you to the promised land, then he's good enough. But if not, we can regroup this summer and see what happens. But yeah, the Bulls definitely have no direction, bro. I mean, they started this year, they were pretty good. Josh Giddey was playing really good, all-star level, and then since then it's just been a downhill. I think they're tied for 10th with the Hawks right now for the play-in, but that's where they want to be, bro. That it's like their 3rd or 4th year just in the same position. I don't know really what direction they're trying to go, but for the Timberwolves, I mean, their salary drops a lot. They're under the first apron, like I said, but now, like, you move Mike Conley out the room. That was a veteran presence. Everybody in the locker room liked him. And now you lose a point guard. So towards playoff time, that's going to be a lot, I think. But overall, I think the Grizzlies, who are your winners from today's Tuesday trade deadline? I think the Grizzlies, you move Jaren and you get 3 first-round picks. I think you're a winner. And for the Pistons, like I said, I think that's a good trade, getting more shooting in the room.
Yeah, I think, I honestly think the Grizzlies and Jazz trade is like relatively equal because they did get a big return from Jaren Jackson, but the Jazz have a pretty solid team, like I said, that I'm something on. When it comes to the Pistons trade, I'm a little indifferent about it, to be honest. I feel like they're not in a win now move, but they traded a player that they drafted a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying? That's just came back from injury, so it's like all right. I don't know.
Only for Kevin Huerter.
You know what I mean? Like that's what's kind of like frying me a little bit. But like you said, more shooting, and it's similar to last year with Malik and Tim Hardaway. So now they have the 2 shooters.
Facts. And last point, but it's like, all right, so yeah, Jaden Ivey, you just drafted him a few years ago. What was it, 21 draft? You just drafted him. He was hurt, but it kind of was going in the wrong direction. Like you play him, and you're hoping his market value goes up, but the way he was playing this year, how he looked, playing worse than all of those backup guards, it was kind of like, okay, we might be losing value, so let's capture what we can get right now while we can. So I'm excited to see, like, Harden just requested a trade. Giannis, I don't want to talk too much about Giannis, but he's out of here soon, so it's gonna be a fun little deadline coming up. You think Giannis get moved or no?
I don't think he gets moved, bro. I don't know if a team pulls, because I was hearing that any team that trades for him is gonna have to be a multi-team deal, and the only team that can trade for him and be 1-1 is the Warriors. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how I feel about the Warriors with Giannis. You might like it, but I don't know if I like it.
Bro, I just feel like Giannis is a great player. I'm not trying to say he's not at all, but he's not the most available guy either. Like, a lot of the playoff failures with Milwaukee, he's missed 2 games in a series, 3 games in a series. The year before that, maybe missed 2.5. Like, Giannis is a great player. I'm not trying to say otherwise, but if you're gonna move everything for one player, it's almost got to be like Shea or Joker at this point. I know you're gonna get me to the promised land. So I don't know. I would like Curry and Giannis together, even though Giannis is really ball dominant. But I just two stars like that I think would be good on the team. But we recorded for a long time on this outro. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're going to do a longer NBA episode. I know y'all know that was good basketball talk, so make sure you subscribe. Go follow us at Not Even D2, and we'll see you next week on Thursday.